Imagine, for a moment, the world pausing in collective anticipation. A world holding its breath, suspended between what was and what might come next. It's January 14, 2026. News alerts flash across every screen, each headline more urgent than the last. Leaders speak in measured tones, but their words are heavy with unspoken threats and the weight of history. In capitals worldwide, lights burn late in command centers, as officials scramble for answers and strategies. On tense borders, soldiers stand ready, fingers near triggers, eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. The air crackles with anxiety, every breath heavy with uncertainty. This is the precipice, where politics becomes a physical force, and every decision feels like a move in a high-stakes game. Years of broken promises and shifting alliances have led here, to a moment where trust is in short supply. Global markets tremble, not from data, but from fear. Uncertainty infects every transaction. Oil prices spike on rumors alone as speculation replaces stability. Daily life is drowned out by the drumbeat of impending conflict, the ordinary overshadowed by the extraordinary. Communication lines now carry ultimatums, not trade. Ambassadors are recalled. Embassies issue warnings, and the language of diplomacy grows colder. The web of global interdependence begins to fray, each strand snapping under the strain. Nations pull back, prioritizing their own security, reinforcing borders and lowering flags. The idea of a global village fades, replaced by isolation and suspicion. Old borders reassert themselves. Geography becomes a barrier again, as if the world is shrinking back into itself. The world map, once a tapestry of cooperation, now looks like a fortress, each nation behind its own walls. This is not a force of nature, it's a crisis of our own making, shaped by choices and failures. The chaos that looms is born from human decisions, from power and pride, from the inability to compromise. This is the ultimate test of our ability to manage the world we've built, to find unity in the face of division. On the brink, failure is not an option. The stakes have never been higher. The world has seen impossible scenarios before, but this one is different, more complex, more unpredictable. The threat is not external, it's us. Our fears, our ambitions, our mistakes. The question is, can we pull back before it's too late and choose a different path for our future? History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. The Cold War's shadow loomed for decades, with every move measured against the threat of nuclear war. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world to the brink, resolved not by force, but by tense negotiation and a shared fear of catastrophe. Proxy wars in Korea, Vietnam, and Afghanistan showed how global tensions ignite local conflicts, devastating societies. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. Escalation is easy, de-escalation is hard. Technology outpaces our control, and leaders are human. They make mistakes. History's lesson: the edge is always closer than it appears. Communication is our only way back from the abyss. The mechanisms of escalation and the fragility of peace are timeless. We must remember, miscalculation can be fatal. The past is a map of dangerous territory. Ignore it at your peril. In 2026, new and old flashpoints threaten global stability, as the world faces a complex web of challenges that seem to multiply each year. Borders remain sources of friction, from the Himalayas to Eastern Europe. Old lines fuel new passions, and unresolved disputes simmer beneath the surface, waiting for a spark. A skirmish in a remote pass or disputed island can escalate into a major crisis, drawing in neighboring powers and threatening to spiral out of control. But conflict isn't just physical. The digital world is a new front line. Cyber attacks can cripple nations without a shot fired, targeting infrastructure, economies, and even public trust. Attribution is murky, retaliation risky, and the consequences often unpredictable. Resource competition intensifies as populations grow and climate change bites. Rivers, seas, and minerals become flashpoints, with nations vying for dwindling supplies. When resources are scarce, confrontation replaces cooperation, and negotiations become battles of will. Underneath it all is the timeless struggle for power. Alliances shift, trade becomes a weapon, and every move is calculated with global consequences in mind. The world is a chessboard of ambition, where any local spark can ignite a global fire, and no region is truly isolated from the rest. Tension is the background hum of our era, shaping daily life and international relations alike. The stakes have never been higher, and the world watches, holding its breath for what comes next. What if diplomacy fails? What if, despite every effort, leaders cannot find common ground and talks break down? The fallout isn't a single event, it's a cascade. First, the economy shudders, sending shockwaves through every sector. Global trade halts, markets crash, and supply chains break, leaving businesses scrambling for resources. Prices for food and fuel skyrocket, making daily life unaffordable for millions. Jobs vanish, shelves empty, savings evaporate. Families are forced to make impossible choices. Economic pain breeds public anger, fueling frustration and fear. Protests erupt, even far from the conflict zone, as people demand answers and relief. Governments, weakened by crisis, face unrest at home and struggle to maintain order. Some lash out, others collapse, creating power vacuums and uncertainty. Regional wars ignite as neighbors intervene or refugees flee violence, spreading instability across borders. The final domino, global cooperation breaks down and alliances fracture. The internet is weaponized, travel becomes dangerous, and shared efforts, like fighting pandemics, cease entirely. The world fractures into isolated, distrustful blocks, each wary of the other. The idea of a global community shatters, replaced by suspicion and fear. We're left in a darker, poorer, more dangerous world, where hope feels distant. Every nation is on its own, cut off from former friends and allies. The cost of failure is total isolation, with no one left to turn to. The world we built unravels in days, and the consequences echo for generations. Beyond headlines and armies, the true cost is human. Fear seeps into daily life, eroding trust and hope. Leaders stoke division, neighbors become enemies, communities fracture. The social fabric tears, sometimes for generations. Economic pain is personal. Businesses close, farmers can't sell, workers lose jobs. Inflation erodes savings, dreams are replaced by survival. The middle class hollows out, inequality grows, and stability crumbles. But the deepest wound is the loss of hope. Why plan for, see, waj, or aj, waj, my treaty nine, udedander, abite amo, or may, why trinadric bites may not come. The destruction of the human spirit echoes long after the bombs stop. War's greatest tragedy, YGD, is what it does to the soul. Even on the brink, we have tools for survival. Diplomacy is our first line, quiet, patient, and essential. Negotiation finds compromise, turning battlefields into partnerships. Global institutions, UN, WTO, EU, ASEAN, exist to keep dialogue alive. They're safety nets, built on shared interests, stronger than division. But these tools require political will. Leaders must choose peace over victory, stability over dominance. Compromise demands courage and trust. Even with adversaries, these mechanisms are our best hope, if we use them. In the high-stakes game of global politics, wisdom is our greatest asset. The choice to pull back is always ours. Our systems for peace are slow. Our systems for war are fast. Escalation can now happen in minutes. Technology outpaces human decision-making. A jet crosses a border, a missile launches, a radar glitch. Each could trigger disaster. Leaders make life-or-death calls on imperfect data, under immense pressure. The fear of striking too late can lead to striking first, on a false alarm. Social media and news cycles amplify anger, trapping leaders in tough talk. Public pressure fuels aggression, creating a feedback loop of escalation. One mistake, a misread signal, a viral rumor, can ignite an unstoppable chain reaction. We're more connected than ever, but that connectivity can hasten our downfall. The paradox: speed is our enemy, patience our only defense. In a crisis, a single error can spark catastrophe. The margin for error is vanishingly thin. We've imagined worlds undone by nature, no sleep, no gravity, mega tsunamis. But a world shattered by political tension is chaos of our own making. The international system collapses, order is lost, nations act alone, trust vanishes, alliances dissolve, trade, travel, and cooperation disappear. Every ship and plane is a threat. Progress halts, then reverses. Science stalls, climate action is abandoned, the internet fragments, knowledge is hoarded, not shared. Civilization slides backward into tribalism. Like a body without sleep, a world without stability becomes sick and self-destructive. Systems collapse, externally and internally. The cost of unchecked tension is the unmaking of the modern world. This is a catastrophe born not from physics, but from politics. The future we fear is one we create ourselves. The question, will we let it happen? January 14, 2026. We stand at a crossroads. Stability is a human achievement, not a law of nature. Geography and history still shape us, but new challenges demand new choices. The path to chaos is fast. The path to peace is slow. The future isn't written. The brink is not the fall. Our imagined world of collapse is possible, not inevitable. The outcome depends on our choices, leaders and citizens alike. Dialogue, compromise, and cooperation are always options. Our greatest weapon is reason, empathy, and the recognition of our shared humanity. One mistake can tip us into disaster. One act of courage can pull us back. The fate of our world rests in our hands. The balance is delicate, but hope remains. The choice is ours, now and always.
You've seen what could happen. But this was only the beginning. Next episode. What if gravity